Good morning, gorgeous ones. Dr. Lucy here. I'm a little bit late this morning for two reasons. One, I'm in my caravan and we had all the shuttery things shut, so actually had a little sleep in. And the second thing is that I've been looking for my hairbrush, which I actually don't think I've brought. And then I'm thinking, well, you guys don't care. You've seen me out of the shower, you've seen me with wet hair. You don't actually care if my hair is brushed or not. So luckily, there are these things called shops, and I'll go and buy a hairbrush today. This week's little theme, I'm talking about insulin resistance. Kate is one of the pillars of our programs. Insulin resistance. Morning, Kerry. Good morning. Insulin resistance is one of the leading drivers of fat storage in today's current modern society. And depending on the age range, we see that probably about 80% of people over 50 have some level of insulin resistance. Mild insulin resistance is very common. Severe insulin resistance is really one of the drivers of our chronic disease that we're seeing in our current society. So the things that insulin resistance results in something called hyperinsulinemia, which is just a very fancy way to say high blood levels of insulin. Good morning, Liz. And the problem with high blood levels of insulin is that it has flow-on effects. One is that it increases fat storage, and not just increases fat storage, but actually prevents fat breakdown. And that's a big problem, because if you've got big stores of fat, but you can't actually access them, then you can't get rid of them. So that's a big problem. The second thing is that insulin resistance increases vascular stiffness. Good morning, Jan. Good morning, Leanne. Gosh, turning up a bit late and I'm seeing lots of you friendlies. Insulin resistance increases vascular stiffness. So it increases the stiffness of the artery walls, which is one of the ways in which it causes high blood pressure. The other way is that we retain a lot of fluid with carbohydrates, and so when we have a high carb diet and we retain fluid, we increase our blood pressure. So the low carb lifestyle does two things: reduces the amount of fluid that you've got, but also reduces that stiffening of your arteries. And we see significant drops in blood pressure quite early on without necessarily significant drops in weight. So a lot of people will think that the blood pressure is normalized because of weight loss, and that is true, that will happen, but it will also happen much earlier than that. There is a subset of people though for whom weight loss, low carb, they still have high blood pressure. And that's just how it is. There's a little subset called essential hypertension. It was when hypertension was around in the 60s and 70s, before insulin resistance was a big thing. So there are some people who still have high blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, a low carbohydrate lifestyle is perfect for you. If you're wondering about this, we did a podcast, and I'd have to go back to find out the episode number, with a renal physician. And in fact, she's the head of Kidney Australia, and also talked about how a low carbohydrate lifestyle is very helpful for high blood pressure. So I'll link that, give me a little bit, and get back to you on it. So there's this very fancy word, jealous of my new spot. Yes, I know, I'm at by the beach, although the weather's a bit shabby at the moment. It's grey and a bit wintry looking out there, but that's okay. I'm cozy. I've got a fancy cup of tea and my hoodie. I've just had my coffee. The things, Mary and I talk about this fancy word called pleiotropic, which means one thing has multiple benefits, and we love pleiotropic activities. So low carb has multiple benefits because it reduces insulin. Reducing insulin has multiple benefits. It will obviously help you lose weight and reduce fat storage, prevent diabetes, improve your blood pressure, and there's a whole host of other things that I'll talk about tomorrow. We talk about mindfulness and meditation and stress management as having pleiotropic effects as well, not just on the time at the moment, but on your health in general. Lovelies, we will certainly be going into this more this week, but also Dr. Mary's training coming up next week. explains all about insulin resistance. Good morning, Francesca. And goes through that in more detail. If you haven't been to one of our trainings before, our masterclasses on weight loss, then there are 2 next week. One is American time. It's a Wednesday night, which is actually 10 a.m. Melbourne time on the Thursday, or the Thursday night. I will again link the what do you call them? The links, the links for the web pages, so that you can register for these masterclasses. If you register and you can't come, we will send you the recording. So if you want to see the recording, please register. It just makes it easier for us admin-wise. It all gets sorted out easily. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye, darlings.